Very warm welcome to all of you this evening as we are here to launch the northern chapter of the Yes Bank National CFO Forum. I now have the pleasure and privilege to introduce to you Dr. Rana Kapoor, whose vision and leadership has been the foundation stone for the initiative that we are all gathered here for, the Yes Bank National CFO Forum.
Honorable Sir, Minister, Dr. Veerappa Moile. Sir, this is an initiative that we believe can propagate and highlight the role of the CFO, not just as a good MBA or a good chartered accountant or someone who's practicing just good behavior, but in terms of proper governance. The principles that you have set out for the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, for the Institute of Corporate Affairs, of which I am a privileged member. So I think the message that has come under your leadership about CFOs working as, I want to call them buddies, and as good compatriots, to really combine with CEOs and leaders in helping and propagating the cause of good governance, leadership, transparency, accountability, and even more important in the recognition in the overall changing circumstances in our country on ethics, on code of conduct, on the ability to foresee and be futuristic about analyzing issues that may be heading towards future problems. So when we formed this forum, amazingly the response was like incredible. We founded the council with 40 members nationally. Brilliant response. There are 2,500 CFOs in a certain formation who have responded to this forum, sir. Today, sir, we will take this opportunity to launch CFO Insights. CFO Insights is a perspective. So it's a deep dive of what CFOs want to synergize and what they want to convey to many other leaders across the country through their experiences. Sir, the CFO talent management. CEOs, a lot of focus is on CEOs. The CFO talent management, because CFOs, I can name 20 people. It'll sound like they're all favorites, you know, I can see them here. And so they play the most important role in not just capital budgeting and future decision making, sometimes changing gears between what is to be done faster, what is to be slowed down. But I think the talent management pool of CFOs is something that at least we believe that every CFO, every CEO must identify very early in the systems, and sometimes in universities and colleges. That's the true potential. We can produce some of the best CFOs, better than IT CIOs. I personally believe so. There are always expectations when a senior cabinet minister like yours is here. The point really here is that when you are there, sir, expectations grow. And you have been one of the most encouraging and enabling ministers we have seen over the last 2-3 years, who is being proactive and talking to the corporate communities and encouraging and motivating a lot of leadership in the process, you know, the banking sector as well. So there are few aspects. Our country cannot compromise on growth, sir. Even when we are fighting inflation, sir, we need to ensure that we have a good stimulus on growth. So growth is the only way to make sure that the 20 million boys and girls who are getting into the employment circle every year, they get jobs. The corporates will all manage, if they are enabled, they said grow but keep prices down, they'll do it. But if we put harsh tactics to put prices down, so growth gets very dramatically compromised, as we are seeing under the current circumstances. After a fairly good, 8.4, a 6.9 number, hopefully rounded out to 7% for 2011-12. may just about, cross the corner. But sir, we need to grow at 9% to give 2 crore jobs to our boys and girls every year. And one other factor that is resonating very importantly with the CFOs today is the role of social responsibility. It's not the 2% we keep aside, it's not even mandatory, it's only enabling sentiment. The fact of the matter is that can it become something that companies can really contribute and make it impactful and make it graceful without considering that to be an incidental tax. I think that's the opportunity amongst all of us as leaders, as with the presence of the Honorable Minister of Corporate Affairs. Sir, thank you very much for helping us to launch the National Forum, the Northern Chapter, sir. But in a way, you're also launching the National CFO Forum. I'm sure my friend, very old friend of last 30 years, and the current chairman of the Yes Bank National Forum, Mr. Y.M. Diosali, who's been a beacon of a leader, will talk about this. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister of Corporate Affairs, Dr. Veerappa Moily, my dear friend Dr. Rana Kapoor, and ladies and gentlemen. This is a unique knowledge initiative conceived by Dr. Rana Kapoor exclusively for CFOs in India, and with the objective to recognize and appreciate the indispensable role of a CFO in an organization. The forum would serve as a platform for CFOs to share their experiences and best practices across industries and geographies. We are today in a very challenging kind of an environment. What we hear, if you go to any forums, there are lots of challenges. It's a turbulent environment. Economy is slowing down. Inflation is not really under control. Interest rates have gone up, so on and so forth. Globally, the situation is very turbulent. Europe still, every day there is a downgrade of countries, and we are living in this kind of a very uncertain environment. But I am not particularly in agreement with this statement of challenges, etc. In my view, as far as CFOs are concerned, this is an excellent opportunity, because in my opinion, Indian CFOs have played an extremely important role in managing their corporations, and I am making this statement of managing the corporation. It is a fact that ultimately corporations are managed by chief executives and the boards, but the fact remains that behind the scenes, as well as sometimes frontline, coming in on the front line, CFOs have played a significant role in shaping the future of their organizations. In the past, there are companies from India which have gone global, which have become global. They have invested significantly in other parts of the world. However, probably some of them have invested at a time when the markets were at their peak. Today the situation is many parts of the world are suffering. I completely agree with Dr. Rana Kapoor that India has an opportunity or a potential to grow at 9%. It's a different matter that today we are growing sub 7%. But I think our aspiration is to be more than 9%. That is one. And the second point is, if domestically we can grow so much, there is also a tremendous potential for us to look at options in the international markets. And I think that is something which we need to do, especially companies which are solid, liquid, which don't have huge debt on their portfolio. The last point I want to mention today for this audience is that CFOs, in my opinion, have been extremely good communicators. In today's context, that role also needs to be played very well. They are messengers in the organization from the external world as to what investors are talking about, what investors are saying, what bankers are saying, what opinion makers are saying, and pass on those messages within the organization. At the same time, they also communicate to those same investors what are the strategies of the organization, what are the goals of the organization, and also how we are performing. I think this role also needs to be played very well if we want to invite foreign capital into India. We need in institutional investment in India, given the current situation that there is volatility. But we have seen in the last 1 month, again, a lot of interest in the Indian stock market, and I think we have seen good inflows in the recent past. If that has to continue, this role needs to be played very effectively and efficiently. I am sure this is being played very well, but a word of caution. This role should not be played for managing the stock price of the organization. I do not believe that is the role of this CFO, of managing the share price of the company. It is I think that needs to be very carefully understood. While you can watch the share price and the market cap on a day-to-day basis, but if you start managing that, I think you will be doing a disservice to the organization as well as to the community of chief financial officers. So I think this responsible two-way communication in today's context is also very, very important responsibilities for chief financial officer. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Diyastali. My privilege now to introduce to you our chief guest, the Honorable Union Minister, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Dr. Veerappa Moily. May I request you to come on stage and unveil the National CFO Charter along with Dr. Kapoor and Mr. Diyastali. Yes Bank National CFO Forum will focus on facilitating the recognition and appreciation of the broader role of the CFO and also provide practitioners' insights to the industry at large. I further affirm, as member of the CFO Forum, to champion the objectives of sustainable value creation and transparency, governance and CSR with the 4 broad platforms that come under the National CFO Forum, which is CFO Conclaves, CFO Insights, CFO Value Chain and CFO Talent Management. I'd now request our chief guest to also unveil the CFO Insights, the first publication of thought leadership articles from the CFO community. The most insightful articles compiled from across the country, prominent CFOs have contributed their thoughts, and this is going to be an ongoing publication as well. Now request Dr. Moily to deliver the keynote address.
It's an event of enlightenment to me that you have launched today the Yes Bank National CFO Forum, which is an exclusive platform for CEOs across the country, enabling continuous sharing of best practices, ideas, experiences. We have a key personnel management group, which we have, chiseled out in the new company bill of 2011. Now I feel that, I already requested Dr. Rana Kapoor to give me a small one-page note, justification to include the CFO in the key personnel management so that I can immediately, effect the amendment to the bill which is already pending before the standing committee, because we have sent back to the standing. I need to suggest to them this is what needs to be done. So I agree with you that the significance of the CFOs in any given company, the role which we have played at the time of tsunami of economic recession which has happened the world over, but you are the real soldiers who built a wall of protection to Indian economy and make it survive. And that's the kind of the power, which is the energy which you have given to the country. And Yes Bank's emergence as the 4th largest Indian private sector bank is a very short period is truly commendable. The growth story chartered by Yes Bank is unparalleled in the Indian bank. This demonstrates the fact that innovation always pays the dividend, and you have done it and you continue to do it. And you are going to influence the decision makers with this kind of a process of bringing out the best practices. That's how even now I could pick up many things which I am going to tell you that the initiative which we are going to take, that is to bring out a national competition policy. It is already on the anvil, and we have also come out with, in the light of that, draft which is prepared, we have also come out with many, many amendments to the Competition Act. I call for your suggestions. Then, the competition, the competition culture, as you all know that, it can create wonders in the country. I think, I'm very much impressed, excited to, for the launching of this National CFO Forum. I think Yes Bank has done greatest service to the nation by launching this kind of a great initiative. I look forward for more of cooperation, collaboration with the government and in evolving the policy, coming out with the policy. I wish you, the National Forum, the best of luck, and Yes Bank, again I must commend your innovative step in evolving this great system. Thank you very much. All the best.
For this panel discussion, I have great pleasure in inviting a list of key CFOs from across the country. Mr. R.P. Gandhi, Ms. Preet Dupar, Mr. Indrajit Banerjee, Mr. Ravi Sood, and Mr. Hiren Israni. Joining them on this panel will be Mr. Deostali. May I also request Dr. Rana Kapoor.
I would request this eminent panel to talk about not the short-term setbacks, not the speed breakers, not the bumps we may be going through for exogenous reasons, global reasons, or we may be going through some delayed political enablement or whatever else is like stopping us. But what we genuinely believe, despite our limitations, despite our somewhat restrictions, what can we do wonders with? How can companies succeed collectively and individually? And there are many good, fantastic examples. May I just go to my friend Hiren first on the right hand side.
Clearly, opportunity and adversity, but it does boil down to, while it's an opportunity from an investment or from a growth perspective, but it does boil down to getting the foundation and the basics right. Because at the end of the day, from an Indian company perspective, a lot of us do a very good job, but the opportunity for us to take our efficiency and productivity also to the next level, the cost arbitrage or the benefit of cost today vis-a-vis the productivity, I think we scale very good. But as our salaries keep growing faster than the rest of the world and we get closer, the opportunity is really how we drive the execution muscle and the productivity muscle over and above what we really talked about.
So it's a very good central point. Execution of project management, apart from very good vision and strategy, is central to making successful organizations repeatedly.
Absolutely, and that's what provides it. When the opportunity strikes, you're in the position to optimize and maximize from that opportunity.
Ravi, you've seen 3 rounds of version 3. You're in version 4. Now you're hero motorcorp.
Well, according to my mind, managing a business or the opportunities is basically managing your environment. Number 1. That's a fundamental principle. That how you manage the environment, that is the key to success in any organization, in any business or any initiative.
Mr. Deostali, you've done it for 40 years. How have you done it? Building the best cadre of people for 40 years. Innovation, engineering, cadre, and yet commitment.
I think there are 2 aspects of it. The first is the HR related issue, and the second one is the reputation risk which he's talking about. As far as the talent issue is concerned, I think ultimately in any organization, whether it is a promoter managed organization or a professional managed organization, it is meritocracy which has to prevail. And if that prevails, organization prosper. If there are any other issues, unrelated issues which come into talent management, I think that hampers the growth of organization. So I think understanding talent and making sure that your right processes of recognizing the talent, also promoting the talent or developing the talent, if you have those right processes, organizations can create sustainable human resource model.
The left mind now. Mr. Gandhi, would it be fair to say that your beverages business has been a very good catalyst in terms of permeating the FMCG, permeating the youth of the country, and you think it's a catalyst for the future to come?
In terms of consumption power?
Well, in spite of what you said, I can only give you one statistics. Per cap consumption in case of beverage in India is 18 as against 40 bottles a person a year in Pakistan or in Sri Lanka.
Potential.
I don't say that we have to benchmark against Pakistan or Sri Lanka. This means there is a huge potential and we have a lot to do. Thank you.
So building the potential.
And to fill the gap and reach out. But apart from beverage, there are other businesses also where on CSR there are certain initiatives which we are taking and we have taken. And instead of mentioning those, I think we should keep on doing those silently.
But your group has done some fabulous work. Preet?
I think Dr. Kapoor, you spoke about the left side of the brain. So I am going to talk about caring. And I think that is what corporate social responsibility is about. It's not about regulation. I think what organizations have to look at is creating not just economic but also I'd say ecological and social value. At the end of the day, you just have to care for the world that you live in. You have to care for the environment, and that is the only way towards building any sustainable business. You have to look at long-term growth rather than short-term gains. Having said that, and we also spoke about challenges, I think the entire measurement system in terms of if you look at financial markets are not geared up to measure corporates on sustainability basis, not on you're measuring them for economic performance, you're not measuring them for other performances. So I think somewhere we have to create a whole framework which measures this side of the organization as well.
Please, Inderjit. Yeah, sure. Please.
I just step aside from the all very valuable points. So I just want to step aside from a little different subject, which the Honourable Minister talked about, which is competition. And the point I'd like to make here is that India has, ever since 1991, when the liberalization actually took off, in the last 20 years, the nature of competition of Indian companies has undergone an enormous change, and it is going through an even greater change in the days that we are now living in. It's good that the competition law is coming. It's good that but what that does is it puts an enormous pressure on the corporates in India to be able to shape up to that situation and to be able to restructure, to be able to find out where we can get better in terms of our efficiencies, and where we can compete not only with Indian companies but globally as well.
Well, this was a very interesting discussion, whether it's creating success in perpetuity, having good communication skills, managing beyond financial risk, creating a culture of innovation. My God, you have a task at hand. Well, I would now like to conclude the evening. Thank you so much.